Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Ya Ali Madad. During the separation from Miss DeSa that Marian Williamson and Matthew had brought on us, I started getting all these psychological problems, neurosis that I've never had in my life before. I was growing up in a healthy manner, as strict as Miss DeSa was for my own good. She did admit that she had been firm with me because now she realized that I truly loved her with a pure heart. But now it was too late. Dr. Todd had come in and they had made Miss DeSa tell me to go to the psychologist. And I was telling Miss DeSa, no, I will not go. So then I thought about it, and for Miss DeSa, of course, I planned to go to the psychologist. And when I told Miss DeSa told me that she was praying that I would go to this psychiatrist, we used to call her. At that time, it was new for us. We didn't know the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. Praying for me to go to a psychologist, not praying that I and her get along. I didn't understand this. So this was perhaps in 1983. And then when she told me in 1989, January 7th, Zahra, I'll never stop praying for you. I told her, no, don't pray for me. Please don't pray for me. Look, listen, my people, these Americans have now taken our kind of love, spirituality from our religion. It is so disgusting. They've made our hearts ache, bleed, break, non-stop, and they don't care an ounce. They don't give, shall I say, but I want to say that they don't care at all for us. And they are using all this, our love. They've come into Karachi, Pakistan. Look, they are using us. They are misusing us. How can I make you see this? The tears I've cried, and forget that. What do you call it nowadays? Collateral damage. Damaging my house, hurting my mother, bribing this aunt of mine, Mutahar. But one day, I'm waiting for that one day. But not now. That one day with God. And so you all will be waiting for that one day with God. While these Americans like Marian Williamson and Matthew make our countries bleed and die and wish for death, but death doesn't come. I assure you about that. God forbid. And we have prayed. Where not? How many times? Don't ask. Even my therapist was saying, where are your prayers going? Where are they going? They made me so unhealthy, saying that Dr. Todd saying that this thing with Miss DeSa was unhealthy. We had, on one hand, I had the greatest grand aunts ever, whose doors were always open for us. And I think my St. Joseph's College, this teacher was telling me that Mrs. Gulzar, our principal, was telling her, where are those days where our doors were always open for one another? Um, yeah, something like that. I don't want to convince you, but I do want to say that by following the Americanized life and jobs, career, and all this, our children will become unhealthy. I did care for every beggar on the street of Karachi. My only crime was that I didn't have it in me, and I felt very guilty that I couldn't help them, like give them shelter and food and a way of making them earn money instead of being on the street like that. But I was saying, oh my God, what is this? Where is God? Uh, and in college, this person was the one that God had sent for me. But look how I made it so unhealthy because of following this Americanized advice Dr. Todd, because they told me that this thing between you and Miss DeSa is unhealthy and too much attachment is unhealthy. Attachments are unhealthy. And I wrote endless letters to Miss DeSa, also trying to convince her that we can work it out together if we have love, and we can go to church, and she can come to my Imam Barga, and I can swear there on God in front of my alams that I have pure feelings for her. They're only from the heart. I mean, I didn't have any romantic feelings for Miss DeSa. Those days I didn't listen to any songs. I listened to songs. I mean, I watched Indian movies and American English movies, but I didn't really have any dedications to make to Miss DeSa in songs and all that. And when she couldn't understand me, maybe my last resort was, yes, that one song, Endless Love. But I dedicated to Miss DeSa in a clean heart. And I didn't all the time listen to songs, like the way I was listening to songs in college and dedicating every single song to my principal. And now I'm so scared. Something really happened to me. I don't know what. It's like the Spellbound movie by Alfred Hitchcock. I felt so guilty, like a culprit. And this time I've said that I've screamed out that I didn't stick my tongue out to those Parsi ladies who were crossing the road in 1978 or 1979. I didn't scream at Miss DeSa. And then when someone went and told Miss DeSa that I was flirting with a waiter in Nadia coffee shop. I didn't scream at Miss DeSa. I must have started to crack up, laugh, and then she would say, oh, you are lying. And look into my eyes and tell me that what you want, answer me. Look at my eyes and tell me. And, and you know, the English I had, maybe Miss DeSa didn't understand at that time. It's, I mean, it's disrespectful for us to look into the eyes of an elderly person and say to them, answer them. But in one of the birthday videos in 1983, I learned to look into Miss DeSa's eyes while she's talking to me. I've made many videos of that, pausing it and rewinding it and replaying it. And another rumor now followed me in 2004, 5, 6, that Miss DeSa one day didn't come to my birthday, so I have called her, and those people were there in my birthday, and they heard me, or something like that, or they heard from someone that I was abusing Miss DeSa. I was really angry at Miss DeSa. Look at all these rumors. In 1983, I invited Mrs. Ansari, Mrs. Bilkis Ansari, to that birthday of mine. Miss DeSa and I were sitting together, and I said, wait, let me call Mrs. Ansari. She's not here. And I called, and she was not going to come. She refused to come. And she apologized, and so that was it. Miss DeSa was there with me. I remember one birthday, Miss DeSa could not make it because her mother had passed away, and we were not even to celebrate this birthday of mine properly, because then we were going to have my uncle's wedding there in 1980. I really don't remember calling Miss DeSa in 1980 and abusing her. So what this Marianne Williamson and Matthew have done is made Miss DeSa look bad, so bad. I mean, she was one of the family friends that everyone in my family knew, and everyone was shocked. No matter how much we tell her, beg her to come back, she wasn't coming back. Not even for Christ's sake. I wrote a letter in Dubai. In 1985, I was in Dubai, or 1986, in the old house of Dubai. For Christ's sake, Miss DeSa, come back. It would not lower your prestige. We need you. My mother and I beg you. We are family. And Matthew and Marianne and their helpers have really helped them out to make me look bad, spreading rumors against me. And the way they made Miss DeSa look bad, and this Mutahar's jinns, really this gossip, and if her jinns are right, and she's been cursing our family members, our kids, Mutahar, and if Miss DeSa has a black heart, then the then I should do what Mutahar does and not be scared of her curses that our health will spoil or that we would lose all the money and we will be out on the streets and only her children will get a house and we will see that they go up and we fall down. Well, this is a Dajjal era and this is a Antichrist era. And this is the era where the whore of Babylon, like Marianne Williamson, in whose blood and veins this runs, and Matthew and their helpers, they really are up on top of the world. And also we need to improve on our educational system. That will come later, inshallah, in another audio tape of mine.